morning. Welcome to our 2-week wellness program. This program has been built to fit into your day, and hopefully you'll receive maximum benefit from the multiple awareness moments you'll experience throughout the day. This program will introduce you to stress and the impacts it has on our body. You'll learn more about the biology behind our nervous system, the brain. We'll explore some recent neuroscience that sits behind the practical skills that you're going to learn and explore across the 2 weeks. And so I'd like to start with a couple of questions. Do you ever feel so amped up that you might feel like you're going to explode? Or maybe the opposite, you feel so numb that nothing seems to matter. And so across the next 2 weeks, we're going to explore the community resilience model. This is a model that was developed by the Trauma Resource Institute, and it's a model that allows us to learn practical skills that bring us into being our best self. Science tells us that when we exercise our resiliency muscles, our well-being expands. And so that is the journey of our next 2 weeks. And to start, I'd like you to consider what resilience means to you. If necessary, you can pause this video as you consider and reflect on what your definition of resilience is. Some say it's the ability to bounce back or overcome challenges. At TRI, and the community resilience model definition is that resilience is actually staying calm and in control when faced with life's challenges so that we can thrive and be our best self. And so resilience for us is about thriving. It's about how can we be our best self when we're faced with life's challenges. And we start by experiencing or exploring the fact that how we all experience stress or traumatic events has everything to do with our life's experiences and who we are. And it is all of these life experiences that our body takes in and becomes part of the communication channel. And so as we journey, it will be around learning how to listen to the sensations that are present as we experience different things in the day and in our life. And so we're going to start with our foundational concept, which is the resilience zone. At CRM, we call this the OK zone because it's important to understand that we can have a variety of thoughts and feelings and reactions as we move through our resilience zone. And so this zone isn't meant to be a happy zone or a zone where everything are good sensations and feelings and thoughts, but rather a variety that allows us to go through our day and having a variety of experiences. And so the goal with the community resiliency model and the skills we'll be practicing is to really widen your resilience zone. And that's important because as we go through our day, we could experience a stressful event or a reminder. And when that happens, we notice that we experience a bump. We might find ourselves bumped high in our zone and experiencing levels of anxiety or irritability. Maybe we're noticing that we're hypervigilant, or possibly big reactions such as anger and rage. Coming and getting bumped into our zone is something that happens, and we use the skills to come back in. We could also experience getting stuck in the high zone. And when we're stuck in the high zone, that is when we want to regularly practice the skills to come back into our resilient zone. On the opposite side, we might find ourselves getting bumped low. And when we're bumped low, we may experience depression or sadness. We might find ourselves wanting to be isolated with no energy, finding ourselves fatigued, or maybe, as I mentioned in the beginning, a level of numbness and lack of interest. This is what we experience when we have been bumped low in our resilient zone, or stuck in low, as I mentioned, if we're not finding ourselves back into our zone without intervention. And so it's recognizing that these different types of sensations and emotions are present depending on where we are in our zone, whether at high or low or in our resilient zone. And so, as mentioned, the goal of the practice will be to expand our zones, as those that might have a narrow resilient zone might experience small stressors that can bump them into their high or low zones. My experience when my zone was more narrow was getting caught up in traffic. And so when somebody would cut me off, I would notice that for hours, I would find myself in my high zone. After practicing the skills, my zone has become greater, an ability to really face more of life stressors as my zone started to widen. And so the practicing of the skills, not only when we're finding ourselves bumped high to bring, or bumped low to bring us back into our zone, but even when we're practicing the skills when we're within our zone, that is when we find the ability to widen our resilient zone. And as we practice these skills, we'll start to realize a sense of embodied well-being. And when we're feeling this sense of embodied well-being, these different types of experience will present themselves. Everything from compassion and empathy to optimism and hope, and the acknowledgement of not only individual and collective suffering, but also strengths, present and historical. So there is a variety of benefits as we continue to practice with the wellness skills. And the first one that we will explore today in your awareness moments is resourcing. Resourcing is the first CRM skill. And this is something that uplifts you, whether it's a person, place, or thing, whether it's real or imagined. And it's something that gives you strength and or helps you get through hard times. So as we finish our first focus of the day, and you consider that resource, I'll invite you just to notice what might be present as we're finishing this focus of the day. And I invite you to enjoy the time with your resource throughout today's awareness moment.